We can come
All
to
right.
order then. Do we want to do brief introductions? I think we all know each other at this point.
Let's do that so that anybody who's watching knows who we are too. About that,
Okay,
because we have a fan base, I'm sure.
I'm sure we do. You go ahead. You're the star of the show.
Oh gosh. Hello. I'm Adrienne Doman-Gulkins, library manager here at Sherwood Public Library. Thank you.
And I'm Randy Mifflin. I'm the current chair.
Melanie, you're muted.
I'm Melanie Dobson. I'm advisory board member.
Hi, I'm Steve Remsen. I'm also an advisory board member.
Jane's gone. I know you can't hear me, but I applied to be on the library board. Find out later in September. And I'm Renee Browse, the council liaison.
Fantastic. The gang's all here. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, yes, actually. So, could we bump Councilor Browse's council updates up to the top since she's driving and she may lose reception before we get to the end, just in case.
That
So
sounds like
if we do that next, and then I do have some information I want to add in the agenda. I have expiration dates. I realize I had errors, and then also just I wanted to add more information. When I get to the part about board appointments, I'll show a new version of the agenda that has that. So I just want to, report here that I recognize there are some errors. Like it says that Stephen and Melanie, that your terms expired when actually that was when they started. Those were the previous members, and somehow I didn't catch that at the time. So just want to record that.
Fantastic. Then we can go to council updates.
Just to be clear, I'm not driving. I'm the passenger, so I am not driving and trying to talk on the phone at the same time. But good morning, all. I would call this the crazy season because we're in election mode. So I think you're all aware that elections are coming up. That's a hot topic going on right now. But I think what I want to call attention to more is that council's embarking finally on the topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Adrienne and Crystal did an amazing job of sharing all the great work that the library has done in regards to diversity, equity, inclusion. It has sparked interest, obviously, in the community. And my personal opinion is we're behind the 8 ball as a community. But I think it's provided what's going on in the community is providing an opportunity to really engage in some crucial conversations. So I'm excited about the opportunity, and so look for more to come on that. As far as other things going on in council, we're just going through some annexation of property. The Tonquin employment area is coming into the city, and some other key area land is coming in. And this is all part of the plan that's been in place for many, many years. So it's nothing really new. It's just finally happening. Other than that, those are the two key things. So if you've got any feedback about the DEI or any of those issues, please either call me, shoot me an email. We can meet. I'm very, very interested in what you have to say. So thank you.
Great. Okay. Can we get a movement to approve? Are there any questions about the minutes from May 22nd?
I can share those on my screen if anybody wants to see them. Is that? I'll just do it anyway, just so it's there. Okay. This is me scrolling quickly. Do you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Those look vaguely familiar.
Mm-hmm. It's a while ago. Yeah. last time we approved minutes, there was a lot that, the meeting had happened before the closures, and so the minutes were not accurate really by the time we approved them. Whereas in this case, I did review and everything. I mean, even though we've moved on to new phases with some things, this was all still accurate.
Very good. Okay, if there's no questions, can I get a movement to approve?
Yeah, I'll approve.
And can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. And that moves us along to vice chair nominations.
Yes. Could I give a little preamble to this?
I would hope so.
Okay, thanks. So I know we're very small right now. I did want to check and see, well, what are the rules with this? Because we're in kind of a funny time right now. And so let's see, let me make sure I have one moment here. I'll make sure I have the right things on the screen that do I have anything on the screen right now? I thought I stopped sharing.
Renee's dog.
Oh, is that what's going on? Okay.
Are we checking if we can nominate the dog for vice chair? Because
Oh. Let's see. I just had I had it up on the screen, and I think it was on a different spot here. Okay, so the ordinance that applies to our situation is the same ordinance that kind of reorganized how boards and commissions work. It was from June 2019. And so there's a section there that applies. Let me see if I can share this part. I'm actually on a VPN when I do that, so I'm not sure how well that will work. I should have tested this. 1 second here. I think this will work. Tell me if you see a just white document, black text, yellow highlighting. Yep. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you. Okay, so the part that I've highlighted is our situation where we've got vacancies in office of chair, vice chair due to the midterm resignation. So when Deanne Wells moved, she left about a little less than a year on her term. Shall be filled by election of the membership and shall be for the remainder of the vacant term of office. So if you hold that in mind, and then I'm going to stop sharing that for a moment. Let me share the actual terms so that you've got that too. 1 moment. Okay, so this is on the agenda. I keep the list of the officers and then the expiration dates, and I had to go dig up and correct. I apologize. I had for Stephen Remsen and Melanie Dobson, I had the wrong expiration dates on yours. So yours, you are signed up for full terms. You didn't sign up for 1 day. So those are corrected. But then for Deanne, her position was number 7. It would have gone through June 30th, 2021. And then we're in the process, which I was going to speak about in a little bit. We're in this process of recruiting. We have at least 2 interviews next week. There are 2 more that I'm trying to get scheduled. And so hopefully we'll be filling positions soon. When position 7 gets filled, that would be filled until 2025. But position 7 doesn't have to be vice chair. Vice chair just moves around to whoever is elected to be vice chair, right? So what we're really asking is, can we either at this meeting, normally we would discuss it at a meeting and there might be a nomination and then the next meeting would be the vote. So, but we're so small, I think I defer to the 3 of you of how you want to do that. If you wanted to discuss today and vote next time, but what we're really looking for, the ask is, can someone step up to be vice chair between effectively now and June 30th, 2021. So for 3/4 of a year. And then at that point, that vice chair position would be up for reelection. And by then we would have more members on our board.
So Adrian, can you go over, maybe you sent this to us and I just don't have it, but can you go over what the responsibilities are of the vice chair? And then
yes.
I would love to move to nominate that potentially next month, if that's okay, or when we meet later in September.
Mm-hmm. Sure. The main duties of the vice chair are to step in for the chair should the chair not be able to make it. So normally what I've seen is that's just running a meeting, facilitating the meeting, if the chair can't make it for whatever reason. Sometimes that's something you know far in advance, like a vacation or some kind of other schedule conflict. Or sometimes it's that person's sick or has a family member sick that day. Hey, can you run the meeting kind of thing? The agenda, I write the agenda and, I put it all out, all of that. So it's not that part. It's just the part that you see happening of running the meeting. And then the chair themselves are the ones that help with other things behind the scenes, usually with the council liaison as well, and with me, of course. And so those would be the interviews for new board members. Should we ever have somebody contesting an item in our collection that they think we shouldn't have, there would be a small group to discuss that. There would be actually additional subject matter experts from staff as well. That's all stuff that we would schedule with the chair as the chair is available. So we wouldn't really need to call on the vice chair to do those things. Our particular board did discuss the vice chair position at length. Gosh, I think it's almost 2 years ago now, about does it really mean you have to become chair? And it's not written into the ordinance that you have to become chair. Sometimes, kind of practice has been for other boards and commissions. Our board specifically wanted to say, no, you don't have to sign up to be chair just because you're vice chair. Because, people were, I think, hesitant to sign up to be vice chair, thinking that it could be that big of a commitment, right? I mean, you could certainly, at the time when chair is open, you could certainly put your hat in. But I think it's always been my experience, even as members have rotated in and out, it's always been just a very respectful, fairly easy experience for both the chair and vice chair. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Chair Mifflin?
Well, do we want to, are we done discussing the vice chair, or do we want to, is anybody interested in the position? So it looks like we have 2 people here that could be interested in the position. Oh, Melanie's stepping forward. I can see it.
I can't see any of you. Am I supposed to see people?
You should be seeing people.
Let me stop sharing and then maybe you can see people.
I just see
depends on what your
Adrian.
settings are. Yeah. Do you see, I think if you, let's see, do you have something in the top that gives you a little option? My
Yeah,
screen looks different. I have 2 screens, but if you're on one screen, I believe you have an option to see just the person speaking or to see everybody.
Yeah, click on the 3 little dots next to the hand, and there should be like a gallery button to check.
Yeah, let's see. Show device. No, it's my device. I see you now, Steve.
Yeah.
You might have it set to
One person at a
seeing
time.
who's speaking.
Yeah, I see who's speaking. That's
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it should be like a gallery setting. It's usually
Right.
the top bar. Yeah, there should be like 3 little dots that's under that header, but maybe you're having a hard time seeing that.
Yeah, I see 3 dots, but it's not giving me the gallery like I would get in Zoom. That's okay. You all can see me.
Yeah. Do you have something that says exit full screen or enter full screen? Maybe toggling that would help.
I do have that. I just wonder if I don't have that in Chrome or something. I don't seem to have that feature. That's okay. We don't have to spend time doing that right now. I was just curious if other people are able to see. I can see the person speaking though.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, something else to consider is that Jane is in this awkward limbo spot right now where she was hi Jane, she was a voting member, eligible to throw her hat in the ring, and now she's in limbo because her position expired, but we were told to wait to do interviews and to finish that process until there was a full open citywide recruitment for several boards at the same time. And so her interview is next week. The soonest that she would be on the council agenda to be approved as a new member again would be it actually, Jane, we're going to miss the 2nd September meeting. So it would actually be the 1st October meeting. So you'll miss probably 2 meetings of being a voting member. So I don't know if, like, hypothetically, you know, when you go through that process, and just in terms of protocol, I think I should say, you know, if you're appointed again, knowing that, you know, you have support, would you be throwing your hat into the ring? Is that something you were hoping to do? Because maybe that would change if nobody else here is actually wanting that, but Jane wanted that. That might change things too. What do you think, Jane?
I sent you a chat.
It says missing 2 meetings is a problem for me. Yeah, you know, missing 2 meetings as a voting member.
There's 2 meetings. I
I-
thought, well, just one. You know.
I thought it was going to be 1. My volume up a bit so I can hear you better. Is it, are you interested in the vice chair position at all?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Got to be realistic. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the meeting.
So do we want to revisit this in October then?
Randy, do you have any planned absences between now and then? Are we going to need someone to fill in between now and then or not?
I don't have any planned absences.
Okay. Yeah,
You're-
that would just be one
you're
thing that would
stuck with
concern,
me
but
until
otherwise I think we're
October.
fine. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Yeah, then I think it makes sense to wait if Jane's interested.
Right,
And
after the interviews as well, so.
That sounds good.
is that, Melanie, I don't want to talk over you too much. When you were talking about postponing until next month, were you thinking you might throw your hat in the ring, or?
No, I'm willing to do it, but I would prefer somebody who had a little bit more experience. I've only, you know, I think I've been to 2 meetings now. I think this is my 3rd, so I feel so new, you know, to this. So if Jane is interested, I think we should wait. If not, I'm willing to do it, but my preference would be somebody who's been on the board a little bit longer. I think would make good sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Great.
I like that. And I mean, Randy, if something happened the day of and we were going to have a meeting, perhaps somebody else could either facilitate, or worst case, I could facilitate. You know, I'm just not a voting member.
Right, should I become incapacitated?
Gosh, please don't. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, at that point too, we're so small right now that maybe we would, you know, if we're missing 1 or 2 members, we may just reschedule too.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we meeting again in September, or is the next meeting October?
So that's a good question. So normally we would meet the 3rd Wednesday of every month. We take off in the summer. We only meet the middle month of the summer, July. But it's been just all, you know, whatever works these last several months. I wonder what everyone thinks about sticking with the 3rd Wednesday of the month, but instead of doing 6:30, because 6:30 for me is problematic right now because of this pandemic and childcare. But if we did something like maybe 4, I mean, we could discuss this over email, but that would give us just a regular frequency. We could keep it on our calendars. We already had those dates, just bump it up a couple hours or 2.5 hours.
Yeah, that would work for me. If we could keep it on those dates that we had, and not doing it during the school hours, once we start online school again. Yeah, 4 o'clock
Mhm.
for Wednesday. That works for me.
Yeah.
Yep. 4 o'clock would be good for my childcare too. So
Yeah.
versus 6:30.
Okay.
So that would be my
Yeah.
preference as well.
Yeah. Okay. Dinner hour. Yeah. Yeah. Renee, would you be able to do 4 o'clock?
Yes.
Yep.
That won't be an issue for me.
Okay. Super. Thank you. But Jane, would 4 o'clock work for you? Okay. She said in chat, she says yes. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. So then, thank you. Got it. Yeah, so then it would be, let's see, what is that? The third Wednesday of September is the 16th would be our next. Well, so then we'd have to decide too. We're having a meeting in September. To me, that seems really soon to turn around and have another one September 16th. I don't think we have enough business to really justify that, in my opinion. But we could do, then our next one would be October 21st, and then it would go third Wednesday. I don't know what December is going to hold. Normally the city has a appreciation event, which I'm sure is not going to happen that way. And we do a short meeting right before the appreciation event. But assuming that doesn't happen in the same way, we could stick with possibly third Wednesday. That would be December 16th. Third Wednesday in November is the 18th. So we're avoiding the holidays, the traditional holidays for here.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Super. Good. Thank you, everyone. That helps to plan. Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So are we ready for library updates?
Sure, thank you. So for other library updates, we're still in a holding pattern in many ways since the county is on phase 1. The libraries are in coordination with Washington County Public Health and Washington County Cooperative Library Services, WCCLS. So none of the WCCLS member libraries have opened back up to the public in any regular kind of way. There are some computer appointments that are happening at some other member libraries. We haven't been able to do that yet in Sherwood. So our main focus is on curbside services. We are now serving over 300 appointments a week for curbside. So you can place holds in the catalog, wccls.org, and then staff prep those materials in advance, have them all checked out. Most people are driving up and picking those up. It's in the parking lot behind the library. It's also available for walk up. We just added printing services. So the library served as a home office for so many people if they didn't have a printer at home and could print at the library, and we're now able to do that. So people can email in their document, we print it, and they pick it up. For curbside in the rain, we're figuring out our plan. Should the county still be in phase 1, and we need to stay outside, but we don't, of course, want to be in the parking lot with rain, we're going to most likely move to be on the Pine Street side, where there's a bit of an awning right there by by Sesame Donuts. And so the staff could have a table there. We'd have access to our computers just a few steps away, and we'd be able to serve more people with more variety of questions rather than having everything prepped and we have to wheel it out to the parking lot and do our business there without our computers. The software we use for library management, it's not something you can just do Wi-Fi off of a regular laptop. So it would give us, pardon me, it would give us more options. We hope to be able to serve mostly people by appointment, but are also planning to have a way for walk up. If someone says, hey, my holds came in, can I just pick those up now? And then we'd be able to step back there, and we'd have to have some positions for people to queue up and so on. We'd probably have another tent for people to stand under. So not to promise it would be warm, but that it would be drier. And then hopefully we can open the library up when we get to phase 2, not necessarily the day that the county goes into phase 2, but that when when that happens, we'll have to follow county protocol of having a certain number of people per square feet. So it's still 35 square feet per person, and we'll have to meter how many people can be in the facility at a given time. And we'll probably have some kind of time limit for that. Computer appointments, instead of doing at our regular computers, we may need to do that in the community room so it's easier to clean between people and so on. So we're I should have a drink of water, and I don't have one right here. but we should what do I want to say? We're figuring all of that out. We'll have more plans at our next meeting to share with you too, but know that we're not planning on staying in the parking lot the whole time when the rain comes. And then of course we have all of our programs are still all online. We expect even when we open our doors to the public that we won't be having live programs in the library for quite some time. And so our fall programming is still story times online, and which we have a good following for. We're doing some pre-recorded where it's just little snippets and some that are interactive and on Zoom. And all of our book clubs have stayed going on Zoom the whole time, and those actually have gone really well. Trivia is still going. And then we'll have some grab and go crafts as well. So we did grab and go crafts for youth over the summer through summer reading, but the grab and go for fall will be more of an all ages. So we'll try to hit a similar demographic as 2 programs that we used to have in person. One was Kids Create, which was for elementary school, and one was DIY Craft Shop, which was for teens and adults. And we're going to try and have a craft that you can kind of scale up or scale down. You come, you pick up your bag, you go home. There's either a video tutorial or a live video session, and people can craft together. So it's not the same, but it's something to keep us going with crafting through the library. That's basically it in a nutshell. I'm happy to answer questions about reopening plans. Doesn't seem like it. So, if Randy, if you'd like, I could say a little bit more about the DEI presentation as well.
That would be great, please.
Okay, so I will share my screen again. Let's see, I just want you to know, I'll put this as a link in the chat as well. You should see on your screen, I'm on the city's YouTube channel. And so if anybody wanted to go find this, currently it's the second one. I just brought this up again today. I hadn't looked at it since the day of the talk, which was Tuesday, and we have 162 views. So I felt really good about that. Usually the council work sessions and meetings have something like 30 to 50 views, or at least the ones when I go look at them. So I don't know how that happened, if it's getting shared out there or what, but that's exciting. So it's the second one, work session. Crystal Garcia, who's our librarian too for adult services here at Sherwood Public Library, was in attendance with me and co-presented parts of it. And of course, you know her as secretary of this board. And we presented to council about 15 minutes or so, and then there was some Q&A, and then it was general council discussion. So it wasn't all on the library's DEI efforts. But in terms of, let's see, I want to start this without actually playing it. I'm just going to grab that link so you have it. But if you wanted to watch, the first, actually, I talk about the library in general for a few minutes, and so it's probably the first 35 minutes is about the library. And I'll stop sharing that. I'll just put this into the chat so you have it easily. So I thought, it was really exciting to be asked to present, and I was surprised how many people said they didn't know how long we were working on DEI efforts specifically, or how much we were doing. So that felt good. It's still to be, still to come about how the city is going to proceed.
Mm.
And I think that's all. I'll go back to, actually, I'll share the agenda one more time. Put that back up on the screen.
And sorry, Adrian, did you cover reopening plans already?
Sorry, I kind of went out of order. Yeah, when I was talking about when we're in phase 2, I didn't go past phase 2. The at some point the county will get to phase 2, right? And then we'll be able to open, in theory, someday, and we'll be able to open in a limited capacity to let people in the building. And then it wouldn't be until the county is in phase 3 and beyond before we start to see things feel more normal, or of coming in and attending programs and that kind of thing. Right now we still don't have volunteers in the library either. And I should add, at phase 2 we wouldn't be able to put out the toys or the different interactive things in the children's area, the crafts. We may not be able to circulate our full collection. We are quarantining our collection too when things get checked out and returned before we turn those around for new checkouts. And there's actually dialogue going on right now because there's scientific studies called the Realm study being done specifically on library materials, and they keep doing new versions of the study. And the one that just came out a couple of days ago is saying after 6 days there's still virus that can be found on materials, but they only did a 6-day study. They didn't do 7 or 8 days or 9 days. So you don't really know, well, what's the magic number? And we've been quarantining in step with the study, and they keep adding days. So it's hard. It's hard because, of course, the public, when they return items, they want those to come off their records so they can do more, have their clear account. But we're following the data. Jane says, are we still quarantining materials for 96 hours? We actually just went up to 6 days when this new study came out, but we're doing that anticipating that the county would be asking us to anyway, because the county has been saying this is the best data we have, so we're going to use it, and we're government, we're not, it's not retail, it's just the risk is a little different. But yes, Jane says 6 days. Wow, I agree. So so I don't have official WCCLS or Washington County Public Health word on that yet. We're waiting for them to weigh in. I don't know. At the beginning, I'm like, well, we want to protect our staff and we want to do the best we can and not have people, full of anxiety at work going, oh, I'm touching all this stuff and I have no idea where it's been. But on the other hand, everybody's washing hands frequently. We're all wearing masks. People are wearing gloves when they're doing check-in. We're doing the best we can, and the rest of the world is not quarantining everything before it goes onto their store shelves, or if one customer touches a box of cereal, you don't wait 6 days before the next customer touches the box of cereal. So it's hard to justify. So that's where we're at right now.
Got it.
Well, Adrian, I've done the curbside pickup now multiple times, and they're doing a fantastic job. It's really fast, and they've just been really welcoming and just really on top of it. So well done. They're doing fantastic.
Oh, wonderful. That's nice to hear. Thank you, Melanie.
Yeah. Do we have, I don't know what the county protocol is, but what does it look like for moving into phase 2? Do we seem to be close? I mean, I know there's no date, but.
Yeah, no date. I didn't bring that up on the screen. Last time I did. Last time I checked it, it still had the old stuff from July on the county page. But we've been grouped, I'm sure you remember, with Clackamas and Multnomah County. And so all 3 counties have to be approved by the governor to go into the next phase. And Washington County is more populated than Clackamas County, and of course Multnomah is more populated than that. But the cases are going down, so we're heading in the right direction. But of course, then flu season could be getting here before. I mean, this is just me talking. I don't want to put words in the governor's mouth or anything. But,
there are 3 different areas that have to be met to be even to go into phase 2 as well. Gary or Randy, isn't the tracing, the contact tracing, one of them that we're still behind on?
It is, yeah, and also having the cases below a certain rate. And I won't tell you the last estimate that I heard before we can all switch phases, but we're ways out. Let's just say it'll be a while. So get comfortable where you're at for now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I just put up the page, the Reopening Washington County page. It still says July 8th, 2020 update. So.
Yeah, and being tied to the other two counties is not going to necessarily make things go any faster. So but I understand the reasoning. So.
So for our planning purposes at the library for events and programs, what we've been talking about is fall, winter, and very likely next spring we'll be doing all online programs. And then possibly in the summer, next summer, that we would be able to do maybe a hybrid of that, or, like we're expecting that there would still be rules like wear masks, stay 6 feet apart, not have gatherings over a certain size, that kind of thing. So we had to apply for a grant for summer reading program for 2021. And it was a really tricky grant to write. What are you going to do? Yeah.
So if we don't have any other questions for Adrienne about library updates, we can move on to strategic thinking.
Put this link in here. I'm putting the link to the page I just had up on the screen just a moment ago. Should I just keep talking?
Yeah.
Strategically. So back before the closures, we were talking about our strategic plan, and we were going to have a staff survey, and we had a patron survey, and we had that nearly ready to go, and just trying to figure out the best methodology. And I had just gone to a conference about strategic planning, and it was right before all the closures. And so we were on this, we were poised, right, to do work on strategic planning. Of course, that all didn't go as planned. It feels to me like impossible to plan 3 to 5 years in advance for what we would normally call a strategic plan right now. What I'd like to do, because our last strategic plan actually expired in 2019, and here we are, we're almost at the end of 2020, and I don't want to just keep waiting to do a strategic plan. What I'd like to do is more of a strategic focus. If our group, say the next 2 meetings, if we were to discuss, well, what are some short and medium term priorities and goals to kind of get us from here to there when we can do deeper strategic planning for longer term. So that, I know what many of those are, but I don't want to guess what all of them are. I think it'd be good to have discussion, and we could have discussion with new lenses that the pandemic and the racial equity movements have been showing us during this time too, that beyond just reopening, how do we go about serving those whose needs have not been met during this time, or how do we prioritize, and that kind of thing. So keeping it really tightly focused on services that we can offer during closures and during phase 2 and possibly phase 3, that kind of thing. So I wanted to see what you think about that. If I were to do some pre-work to give you some things to respond to, maybe a couple things to read before the next meeting, and we could have a discussion about priorities and possibly that roll over to the November meeting.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Okay.
It'd be kind of a standing item on the agenda then.
Yeah, it could be a standing item. It could be something where we maybe make a statement, of sorts, something, an official document I can point to and refer to and share with staff. And I could maybe have an iteration with board input and staff input and you know, mix it all up kind of thing. I don't know what to call it yet. Strategic focus, strategic, I don't know, but something to kind of bridge the gap. I think I'd still like to do really robust listening sessions and that kind of thing, but I just can't see that it would be equitable to only do listening sessions online.
Hey guys, I'm gonna get off here because I'm gonna be losing you here pretty soon.
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
see you later. Thank you.
Thank you
Have a
for
great
joining
holiday
us.
weekend. Yeah.
Thanks, Renee.
Thank you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Adrian, is it possible to send us a link or email us just the old strategic plan so we have that to look at when we start talking about the new one?
Yeah, in fact, I have that queued up right here.
Okay.
Let me
I
post
know we
that.
reviewed it before, but just for a reminder and to have that in front of us.
Yeah. So that link gives just kind of an overview of the goals and the contents. And then if you scroll down, the first link, which says supporting documents, is the
Got it.
full strategic plan.
Right.
And then the link below that was the progress report snapshot from December.
Thank you.
What do you think, Stephen?
Yeah, no, I think it makes a lot of sense to focus on short-term goals, thinking about what's important, and then even, I know we've been talked a lot about this, our place of business too, with how dynamic everything is and going all of this sort of VUCA stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think just thinking about maybe means more instead of goals, right? So what's important, and then maybe not trying to hit a certain benchmark, but just where can we move the needle on things, we care about most. So I think the diversity, equity, inclusion is a great one, right? How do we kind of support that? So who's not getting served right now? It's a very different time, right? So I think those inequities are being amplified. So what the library can do to support that would be wonderful. And then, yeah, the social environment we're finding ourselves in now too is very challenging. So there's a lot of things challenging our community right now, and what we can, what the library, because I think the library is a great tool, right? And that's why I was interested in it. So but again, I think setting goals right now can be challenging, right? Just because things are so dynamic.
I like your description of moving the needle. That feels much better than trying to say, check, we finished that, when so much is unpredictable right now too, even just with our own staff time and your time. And yeah, good. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Oh, and Jane's commenting, I like the idea of a monthly update of our strategic plan so people realize we are meeting with courage and commitment. Jane, do you mean rather than the strategic plan, but this new, whatever the new version, strategic short-term focus, that kind of thing? Monthly update of that? I think I hear typing. Simple update and focus. Yeah. Good. 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 Well, thank you. That feels really good.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do we have any other business? I don't think we have any public comment.
Well, Jane's technically public.
Oh, but she is.
Yeah.
She might be commenting. Hard to say. I just see her hairline right there.
Well, she texted, haha.
Oh.
And she's waving.
There
Do you feel
go.
like you had got to say everything you wanted to say, Jane?
I wish the sound was working, but I'm not supposed to talk. I'm a guest.
Well, this is the public comment section. That's where we're at.
Okay, all right.
It's your time to shine, Jane.
Yeah. I don't believe the chat ends up in the video for the public. I don't know. I'll make sure the links and some of the relevant comments make it into the minutes. Jane says the library is doing fabulous curbside services. Thank you, Jane. That's great. Okay.
Okay. All right. So if we don't have any other business and Jane doesn't have any other public comment, I think we can adjourn. So, and our next
Sounds
meeting is October.
Right. So third Wednesday of October.
Yeah,
We'll
21st.
do the 21st, 4 p.m. Right.
Fantastic.
And we'll do, so I think we can probably, let's try, can we do 4 to 5:30 in case we need that full time for discussion, since we'll be talking about strategic short-term focus, foci?
Yeah.
That would make
Yeah.
sense.
Okay. Okay.
That would be good.
All
And
right.
then we'll be getting together again next week for interviews, or at least some of us will.
Right. Right. Randy and Renee will be helping. We're interviewing Jane. We have one other applicant who's scheduled, who looks really interested and great, someone from the school district, and then we have 2 that I'm reaching out to. I'll let everybody know how that goes forward, and then so the, let me see what that is. I think it would be October 6th, I believe, would be the council meeting when Jane's position and the others would be appointed by council. So it'd be before it would be before the next meeting, Jane, since we're not doing the third Wednesday of September. Yeah, yeah.
Big thumbs up. Okay, well, we're not going to go easy on you, Jane, just so you know. We've got some real tough questions for you.
I already emailed her the questions.
Oh,
Hardball.
I want to see the sweat for a week.
Oh, no.
Okay, I think that concludes the meeting. I think we can adjourn, and I hope everybody has a great Labor Day weekend.